So homework out of the way, please give this channel a chance. Please consider liking, supporting the channel via channel memberships or super chats. And please consider giving my other channels a chance. There will be content coming there shortly. I know the Kubrick channel is, in a weird state. I will hopefully be resolving that soon. But I'll just keep plugging away. So there's a lot to handle here. So I guess broadly, the channel began with fandoms, what fandoms talk about, and the wider issue of cults and true crime. But more and more, I'm going to probably try to do something on legal news per se with the Karen retrial and other things. So let me just address one issue with the channel, which I know is kind of boring with protocol, that I'm a little triggered with the Jerry Armstrong case. For those who do not know, Jerry is a very long-time activist. He won a very successful case in court against Scientology. And that's actually very critical because you can call L. Ron Hubbard a liar, a pathological liar. You can't get in trouble because that's what that court case established. Because Jerry was working on a biography of Hubbard and was stunned. This is when he was a true believer. He was shocked that almost everything, everything L. Ron claimed to have, that he was a physicist, an engineer, he battled bears. No, I'm not joking. He actually claimed that he was fighting bears at one point. All of it was a verifiable lie. All of it. And so he was just shocked and left the church and spoke out, and the church attacked him through tons of covert operations. We even have videotapes of these operations. It's pretty incredible. So I get a little protective of Jerry, but I'll try in the future to not be as censorious around the subject. But I get a little triggered when people say things that are, I know for a fact, not true. But I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a trained jurist, but I have read tons of things on the law, read legal cases. But law is not real. Right? This isn't about rocks or trees or gravity or black holes. These are not literal, real physical objects. They're social constructs. Okay, but let's now get to the main event, which is the clickbait and Serge Del Mar, a very wayward activist and almost the complete opposite of Jerry. When Jerry left the church, he left the church clean. He's done decades of activism, has been a very persistent, very consistent critic of Scientology. Again, Jerry has a very clear style and manner. I like his videos just fine, but they are for a certain style. The guy provides insane amounts of documentation for everything. So if you want to challenge him on this or that, he has a whole archive for people to dig into. And it is a wealth of treasure and verifiable things. That's why he has my utmost respect. You can definitely disagree with the man on many things, but he brings a receipt factory with him all the time. Serge is the complete opposite, and his pathway out of the church is very problematic. He used to be an old friend of Jordan Masterson, and if you don't know who that is Daniel's brother. Yeah, Danny has quite a big family. So he has one biological brother. Jordan and Alana are siblings through a marriage, and their father is also a really big hero in my book. He eventually also left the church, became a critic, and the church went after him. And the children insulted and slandered him. And he actually had a lawsuit going, but he died tragically a few years ago. Really interesting guy. He was apparently in Australia a long time, but he grew up in Lebanon during the time of the Civil War. Very fascinating figure. So Sergi Boy was a big fan of the celebrity Scientologists, and then left about a decade ago and magically discovered or rediscovered that the children are in danger. Although even that's a fraud. He didn't talk about children when he came out. By the way, that's a whole mythology. So anyway, I don't really care about personalities at the end of the day. The issue is, can you be an effective fighter against fascism? Which is what I think the Church of Scientology, the official church, embodies. It's a fascist system. It's a fascist organization. I really don't care for fascism, whether on the left or right, or whatever its construct, whether it's religion, atheistic. I really don't care for fascism overall. So is Serge a good fighter against fascism or Scientology? No. But he's promising a pathway to destroy the church. Okay, let's open mind look at it, and it really wasn't that much. So essentially, Serge had a talk with real lawyers. Okay, these are real lawyers. That's good. And they do have a successful track record, although their backgrounds are a little shady and iffy, especially Kim. But hey, in a war, you go with allies you have, not the allies you want. But really, I patiently listened for minute after minute, and it just didn't go anywhere. And I think their presentation was just stupid. I mean, they were referencing the Harvey Weinstein case, even though now we're finding out this is the truth. This is not speculation anymore. Some of those people were lying. Some of those women coming forward with accusations were outright lying or wildly exaggerating what happened between them and Weinstein. Now, let's be very clear, the guy's a monster, and he definitely committed many crimes. And again, it's become so heated, both sides are getting really partisan. So I like Candace Owen. She's a very extreme right-wing commentator. I don't agree with her, obviously, on many things. I'm not on the extreme right. And one of her now hobbies is uncovering the evil of Hollywood. So playing devil's advocate, she demonstrated a lot of the accusers of Harvey Weinstein lied. Not all of them. So she got the numbers slightly wrong, but it is still astonishing. So people have this image that, right, which is true, dozens of women came forward, but how many of them had actual good legal cases? She's saying it's 5, and the actual accusers were 80. So less than 10% of these women were credible, apparently. The numbers are slightly wrong. Apparently, 8 women had legally strong cases against Weinstein. It wasn't 5, it's 8. Now, granted, that is still alarming that of 80 accusers, only 8, which is like 10%, were actually credible enough to go to court with. That's pretty shocking. So I wondered, well, what were these women complaining about? And unfortunately, you have to state the obvious that they probably lied or greatly exaggerated what happened because this is how it works. If he gets convicted, you have a better chance in civil court. It could be a lot of these things were civil cases. He's still a monster, right? He's still scum, but this is a civil issue, right? Yelling and cursing at an actress or producer or acting shifty, even saying sexually insulting things. Those may be problems. It's not a criminal issue. It's a civil issue. So if he did some really shady things, just go to civil court. But the fact is, if he gets convicted, crime, it's easier to sue him. So unfortunately, you have to conclude the obvious. Some of these women, obviously, because shocker, guys, women talk to one another. These women collaborated with one another and said, okay, well, our accounts do come together in many places, and who the hell cares? He's a monstrous beast, man. And I think the vast majority of these stories do hold up. They are true. I mean, I believe most of these women, have credibility. You may not like them, like Rose McGowan, Ashley Judd. I'm actually a big fan of Ashley. I loved Ashley. So I believe them all the way. Their stories were verified by other people. However, at the end of the day, were these criminal cases? And the answer may be no, or yes, or maybe. And so the image of Harvey the Demon is not true. He's still a monster. He did a lot of bad things, but was he literally a criminal in every single accusation? The answer is no. So Kim, the genius brain, is bringing up well, that's a really good precedent. It is. It is. One of the problems here is that with any attempt to do lawsuits is you have the temptation and dilemma that the victim, even if they are a victim, is not going to tell the truth. They're going to exaggerate or say the account in a certain way, right? In a way to make it more attractive in a jury, right? To make it attractive in a court of law, even if it's not true. And frankly, with the ex-Scientologists, it's always going to be a mixed bag. A lot of them are trained. That's the whole point. They're trained to be deceptive. So they may be traumatized. And again, they may not meet the standard of an actual lawsuit, but hey, whatever. And Serge is not a legal expert at all. At all. Just a few months ago, he came out with, Conra mandated, blah, 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 blah. Do you really know what this is? Do you really know how the law works? No, no. So this is not a serious person. But this law firm does have a history of successful suits. Again, their main thing is not this. They just take on civil cases. I mean, they take on cases of wildfires, food safety, so on and so forth. Technically, they're just good at civil litigation. And Aaron kind of slipped up and kind of gave away the game in his channel in a video saying, yeah, these civil cases. And it's like, wait, but Serge keeps emphasizing these are criminal cases. Now, again, Kim does have a background in prosecuting crimes, right, in criminal court. But what exactly are we doing here? It just felt like a big pep talk going nowhere. Now, in sharp contrast, not to be totally negative, Enri and Crazylove had a very interesting discussion on how to practically challenge the church and have real success in the court with suits and civil litigation and resisting Scientology. And if they try to put you in a courtroom, how to defend yourself properly. And again, yes, I mean, let's be honest here. There was a kind of anti-DOA subtext, but they dealt mainly with his case. Scientology went after him and refought it, and he succeeded. The case was dismissed. DOA saying, no, he pled it out. He didn't actually win. Well, the point is, it was really good, practical legal advice. Again, I don't think Enri's background is in law. I think he comes from an engineering background. So this was really actually good. It was a nice, pragmatic, practical discussion. It's knowledge you can take, self-authenticating documents, and how the legal system in LA works. And Enri's very clear. It's horrific. It is insanely bad. So if you have dreams of, I want to become a anti-scale activist and get to LA and have a fight with the legal churches and fight legal. It's like, listen, it's not a dream. It's not a fantasy. This is a very brutal, ugly, literally ugly. Apparently the facilities are terrible. It's just dilapidated. It is literally just corrupt beyond belief. So yeah, go in there knowing what's really going to happen to you and what the real practical effects of any activism is, right? So there we are. But listen, guys, I got to grow the channel. And I realized that being on Fantasy Island and publishing and spouting outright lies and moronic propaganda is the way to grow the channel within this moronic space. And I'm experiencing limited growth because I do tell the truth. So I got to find a way to do topics that are similar to Scientology, but still, go back and forth on it. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's not just the church. It's just a very corrupt space, and I'm glad people are supporting me. I appreciate any and all support, but I also have to grow the channel. So I will still try to be as honest as possible, but as long as Aaron and Serge are dominating the space, honesty will just not be permitted. And so that's where we are. So it's just going to go in a big circle. But again, I wish this law firm some success, but I'm not seeing anything that's going to really happen. It's just going to be more hibbity-dibbity nonsense and just blah, 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 blah. And then a year later, they're going to be like, well, are we doing anything? Oh, yeah, we're talking, advising. Oh, yeah, here's more propagandas. And there we are. And there we are.